night, which is not surprising to anyone. But what everyone is talking about is what actually happened after the game. LeBron was seen telling Kawhi Leonard, "We'll be in touch." So obviously we've all massively overreacted to that and are now speculating, do you think maybe they still have a shot to get Kawhi? We've said, and you've said, it's kind of a foregone conclusion. If he's going to leave Toronto, he's going to come to the Clippers. Are we so sure about that?
A lot of guys say to beautiful women, we'll be in touch, and the women have no interest calling the men back. Just because LeBron says we'll be in touch doesn't mean Kawhi Leonard's interested.
Just because they could be just talking about going to dinner doesn't mean we can't then take this and make it Kawhi is coming to the Lakers in a few months.
Come on, we're making a little bit too much of this, right? We'll be in touch. I saw.
Well, who's we? I mean, if you're just making plans for yourself, you said I'll be in touch.
I saw Rob Parker in the hallway before the show. I said we'll be in touch. What does that mean? We're going to beat roommates?
We clearly means LeBron and Magic and Rob Pelinka will be in touch.
All right. Well, by the way, my phone's always, you can call me anytime. It doesn't mean I'm coming over. We'll be in touch doesn't mean anything.
So you just think it's Raptors or Clippers for him?
I think it's Raptors 50%, Clippers 50%. That's what I absolutely believe. And I think the Clippers are probably the shock of the league. I can't believe how well they're playing. That team plays hard every night. They play defense. I still can't figure out. Lakers gave up Lou Williams and Zubac. They've both been unbelievable. I mean, that's the best story in the NBA, right? Doc Rivers gets criticized for his coaching. What the Clippers are doing this year, post Tobias Harris, it's been fantastic.
I wonder how the hard-playing team will like Kawhi's mandatory 15 nights off a year for rest.
I don't think he'll take him when he's a Clipper.
And finally,
it's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Line.
We have so much football today. Top of the hour, 30 minutes away. I'm going to take the teams in the NFL. I'm going to give grades for the off-season free agency period, and I think you'll be surprised. I'm handing out 3 or 4 A's and a couple of D's, and there may be a failing grade in there. And with that, New York Times, he is our voice of the NBA. My friend Chris Broussard is now joining us. So it's been an interesting week where, first of all, do you make anything out of LeBron and Kawhi last night? We'll keep in touch. Do you make anything out of that?
No. Look, these guys have a decent relationship. Remember last summer, there were pictures of them playing basketball together.
Yeah.
So it's not like they don't like each other, they hate each other, anything like that. But no, I make nothing out of it. It wasn't like Kawhi said, we'll be in touch. It was LeBron saying we'll be in touch, and they will. Here's the thing with Kawhi Leonard. He has no interest in joining or putting together a super team.
He doesn't.
None. I'm not saying he's, adamant against it, but he's not going to be a part of any discussion. Let's come together and do. I've actually been told, not from him or KD, but people around the league have told me that he and KD, because the Clippers, that's their dream scenario. We talk about Kyrie and KD in New York. The Clippers' dream scenario is KD and Kawhi at Staples Center with the Clippers. I've been told, though, that each of those guys is leery of the narrative that they joined each other. Like, KD doesn't want another narrative of, oh, he went and joined Kawhi. Kawhi doesn't want a narrative of, oh, he went and joined KD. I don't think it has to be that way because they both would be going to the same
team. And they
team,
have
but
different games.
Yeah, they don't want that narrative out there.
You can't join another star and not have that narrative. You are joining good players.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, joining Kawhi or Kyrie is not like joining Golden State after they won 73 games. So I don't think either of them should be worried about that.
Yeah.
So, but that's what some people have told me.
So we had a story this week. Rick Bucher had it. A couple of different people said it. I suggested it about 2 weeks ago. I said, listen, the only asset the Lakers really have is LeBron James. Kyle Kuzma's the deep second asset.
Deep.
Way deep. I mean, he's a 5-starter on a really good team. Boston Celtics, I'm not sure he starts. Warriors, he doesn't start. Houston maybe starts. They have LeBron. But there are stories now that Jeannie Buss was so ticked off at Clutch Sports, Rich Paul, LeBron, that she considered that it was brought up. Does that shock you the story came out?
Well, we both know Rick Bucher. We worked with him at the other place. I've known him for decades. He's a good reporter. And we had Rick on our show yesterday, the Odd Couple, Rob Park and I. And I brought up to, look, this is how it works. I've talked to people involved in this story who've denied it, adamantly said it's not true. I brought that up to Rick. I brought up why did you kind of bring up that, like usually that would be the lead, right? Like the Lakers considered trading LeBron James, and he kind of had it down, I don't know, 6, 7 paragraphs. But he said because it wasn't, the gist of the story was that LeBron couldn't fetch that much on the market anyway, so that's why he kind of had it lower. But my point is, people are denying it. That's what I've been told, but I don't know whether it's true or not. However, I look, contemplated. I mean, a lot of things have crossed people's minds. I'd hate to tell people what's the things that have crossed my mind. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but it maybe it crossed their mind enough to tell some. Rick told us on our radio show yesterday that it crossed her mind to the point where she asked Magic and Rob Pelinka, does he have a no trade clause? And so that's a little more consideration if that's the case.
How about this? So for the last 15 years, I always felt like there was LeBron and then a bunch of good players underneath him, like Kevin Durant, obviously, Kawhi, Harden. That, think about it this way. As great as Tom Brady is, he just won the Super Bowl. He was almost the MVP 2 years ago. I would absolutely trade Tom Brady for Patrick Mahomes today.
Right.
Without even thinking about it. I would absolutely trade Tom Brady for about 5 young quarterbacks in the league. There are 4 players in basketball in the world right now that I would trade for over LeBron. Giannis, Durant, Steph, and Zion. I would absolutely, listen.
KD probably too.
I put him. Giannis,
you said
Steph,
Durant,
Durant, and Zion. I would trade for them before I would trade for LeBron James. And there's, by the way, I didn't put Harden.
You didn't put Embiid?
I didn't. Embiid's had an injury history. That worries me. And he also doesn't handle the ball. And Harden, I don't think, is always great to play with, although it was really close. Paul George is somebody I considered, but I still have never seen him elevate in the postseason. But my point is here, it is not outrageous. Tom Brady right now is performing in terms of championships at a higher level than LeBron. I would move Tom Brady tomorrow for Patrick Mahomes. Right.
Your point it totally makes sense. And I mean, when the GMs did their poll beginning this year, who you would start your team with, it wasn't LeBron. I don't remember who it was, but it wasn't LeBron.
I thought he was like 4.
Right, and it won't be like it's just age. Who would have traded for Michael Jordan in his Washington years? He's the greatest ever. So it happens. And here's the other thing about LeBron. Now, LeBron's got more left than Jordan had when he was in Washington. But LeBron, if they did trade him, he ain't going to be happy. And LeBron is a handful even when he wants to be there.
This is a great...
In Cleveland, he was a handful. In LA, he was a handful, and he wants to be there.
Remember, Kobe at the end, 3 years before he retired, Dwight Howard turned down $30 million. Michael Jordan's teammates couldn't stand him.
Right.
LeBron, Paul George chose Westbrook over him. Kyrie left him. When you get these iconic guys, MJ, Kobe, LeBron, it ain't just the game anymore.
Right.
The last 3 or 4 years, it's the... LeBron brings a lot of suitcases into your house. And you better have space.
You brought up Jordan, and I've talked about it. I was there in Washington covering that team a lot for the New York Times, and they couldn't stand him because and that wasn't in the social media age. If that had been nowadays, it would have been a lot worse. It may have been comparable to this LeBron stuff. And so these guys bring that, but LeBron wants to be in Los Angeles. So if they traded him, say they traded him to New Orleans.
He'd be miserable.
Or Charlotte. He might, I don't know. I have no idea what's in his mind, but he might retire.
I don't think you're...
Rather than play in New Orleans or Charlotte or...
I don't think you're crazy.
And the notion there was brought up in Rick's article by some executive, would Milwaukee try to pair him with Giannis? I wouldn't even think about pairing LeBron with Giannis.
No, that's Giannis.
Their games aren't complementary.
No.
And LeBron, and look, I don't think this is necessarily a knock on LeBron, but he's an icon, and he's still a great player. When he comes in, he takes over.
He sucks the air out of the franchise.
And Milwaukee's got something nice going. They're not.
By the way, let me just throw this out there. You got a lot of sources. In my lifetime, there have been 4 young athletes I've seen in basketball that were different. Ewing, Shaq, LeBron, and Zion. I'm telling you right now, I have two guys, executives in the league. They're like, you have to pick Zion number one. He is literally going to change shoe deals, TV ratings. He will add $400 to $500 million of net worth to the franchise that gets him. That's the belief in the NBA. If your franchise is worth $3 billion, Zion makes it worth $3.5 billion.
Yeah.
That's from an executive who